Hey guys, welcome back. Andrew here with Ambient Endeavors, and today we're taking a look at a new guitar from the folks at Enya Music. It's actually part of a whole new brand that they're launching called Xmari. It's meant to be a more affordable, a more budget-friendly option for players that still has some of the unique qualities and characteristics that Enya instruments are known for. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to share a number of sounds, clean and dirty, from this guitar, and then also share some of the strengths and weaknesses that I find in this guitar as I've been playing it in the studio this week. If you're new to the channel here, thank you so much for watching. Please hit subscribe below and like the video if you like it so that YouTube can keep putting these videos in front of you in your feed. And drop any questions or comments you've got below about this instrument or anything you see or hear on the channel, and we will discuss it down there. So this is the Xmari ESP1. At its core, it's a super strat style electric guitar with a humbucker in the bridge and 2 single coil pickups. And what I like to do with these instruments, even though there are some fun bells and whistles that we'll get to down the way in the video, I like to just kind of vet it as an instrument at its core, like I would any other electric guitar in the studio here. And so that's why in the intro sketch, you heard it in the studio context with effects placed around it. All the layers are multi-tracked in my DAW and mixed down for that track. And so I just kind of like to get a feel for and an ear for what the guitar plays like, feels like, sounds like. Beyond the technology and the fun features, you really latch onto a guitar or are turned away from it by the feel and the playability and all that. So that's going to be kind of the first thing that we hone in on, and we'll talk about the specs of the guitar and then dive into some of those cool technology bits and features down the way. It's essentially a super strat style configuration where you have a humbucker in the bridge and a single coil in the middle and the neck, which gives it a lot of versatility in both clean or dirty sounds. Let's start off by just hearing how each of those pickup positions sound into my rig here. So we're going guitar into a blues breaker style overdrive pedal, then onto a little bit of reverb before we hit a Walrus Audio ACS1 Mark II for our amp simulator, and then onto my DAW. Let's check it out. One of the strengths of this guitar, in my opinion, is the feel and the playability of the neck. It's a nice maple neck with a light gloss on it that I can already kind of feel it's going to wear in and just continue to be a little more comfortable the more you play it. And the shape is familiar and comfortable already. And so that's a big thing with especially these more budget-friendly instruments. You never quite know, what profile or what feel that neck is going to be. And in my opinion, the guitar does kind of live and die by the feel and the shape of the neck. So that one checks the box there for me. It has a nice dark engineered ebony fretboard with what I would probably call medium jumbo-ish frets. And another strength, another kind of pro of this guitar is the fretwork is really nice and tidy. There's no fret sprout or sharp edges up and down the fretboard. So again, that's something that I don't always see even in guitars that are a lot more expensive than this one. So they did a nice job tending to those details in the fretwork there. Let's hear a clip now of some overdriven tones in all of the pickup positions to get a feel for what this guitar sounds like with some gain. One of the other surprising features of this guitar and a nice touch is the real bone nut, and that just kind of adds to a little bit of the sustain and the resonance of the guitar, and just overall gives it a little more life and a little bit more clarity. You have a set of these 18:1 ratio tuning heads here. They feel a little bit stiff when I'm turning them. Nothing wows me about those, but again, those are a fairly easy upgrade if you do want to do that to this guitar. Then as we move down here, you've got your controls and your electronics along with the bridge and tremolo system. You have a master volume control here that if you push in will engage the SP1 technology and access presets for those affected sounds that we'll talk about in a second. You've got a 5-way toggle switch for your pickup selection, and then 2 independent tone controls, one that affects the bridge and the other that affects these other 2 single coils. You've got a 2-point tremolo system here that has 3 springs in the back holding tension there. If you saw in the intro track, I was using that whammy bar a good bit, and it performed pretty well for that track while I was recording stuff in the studio. I will say a slight ding to this guitar is that the tuning stability and there's a little bit of intonation issues that I encountered as I was playing it here. I feel like it's par for the course when you're talking about a $200-ish guitar, but just to know that it's something you might have to kind of wrestle at times. This guitar does ship with 9s, which I don't typically play, and some of that could be attributed to those lighter strings or to the specific strings they're using, and so it's probably worth putting your preferred set of strings on there, maybe even bringing it to a tech and having it set up and intonated properly. But I was just noticing as I was playing it in the studio that I was kind of having to fight and retune a number of times here. So there's something a little bit to be desired there in the tuning stability and intonation right out of the box. So let's talk about a couple things that make these Enya design guitars unique. First off, a lot of these guitars, including this one, feature carbon fiber bodies. This is a one-piece carbon fiber body. It's got some nice contouring on the back here and around the heel on the back side of the neck here. A really smooth body, a pretty sleek look and aesthetic too, and it is a little bit lighter than a traditional wood guitar body, so that's something to take into account. I haven't had any of these guitars around long enough to kind of see how they wear or what to notice about carbon fiber, but it does seem to be much more durable and less susceptible to the just kind of nicks and scratches that you might get in a traditional wood guitar. And then another main feature is this SP1 technology. Like I mentioned, if you hold down this master volume control, you'll see a light illuminate underneath it, and that shows the preset of sounds that you are able to use in tandem with this guitar. The SP1 system works in tandem with a mobile app, so you can actually go in and program different presets of sounds with different effects and amplifiers. They've got a number of different effects, including modulation, delay, reverb. There's 2 amps to choose from, a cleaner Fender style sound, and then a higher gain 100-watt rock and roll kind of sound. And you can run those into your interface for recording. You could run it into an amplifier for some kind of pre-affected sounds. You can also plug a set of headphones into this guitar and practice silently in that way. So it's kind of a fun perk of this guitar and some cool features, especially if you're wanting to dive into the world of effects and affected guitar sounds without investing a ton of money. It's nice to have those on board and built in here with the flexibility of the app. So let's go through those 4 onboard presets now and just give you a taste for the range of sounds you can get from the combination of effects and amp modelers in this ESP1. For this section, we're just using the sounds from this guitar, going right into my interface and recording it that way. Let's check it out. So that's the Xmari ESP1, the newest guitar designed and backed by Enya Music. It's a really affordable and budget-friendly option that has some cool design choices and some technology to boot. These guitars list for right around $200, and they position themselves in a certain category where, in my opinion, you kind of have to have realistic expectations of what you're getting. And as I highlighted before, I think there's some strengths to this specific guitar in terms of the feel and playability and quality control of the neck. I think the pickups sound fine and sort of what I would expect from a guitar of this caliber. It is nice that you get the humbucker and the single coils to give you a nice amount of versatility. And then I think the differentiator with these guitars is quite obviously that SP1 technology. So it's something that you might ask yourself whether it's worth having that on board to be able to do silent practice with effects, to be able to dive into the app and create some of your own sounds and presets if you want. So if I was in the market for a budget-friendly guitar like this, I would kind of consider a couple things. First of all, I'd probably be drawn to something like the Squier Affinity series, which at last checked is in the $250 to $300 range for an equivalent model guitar. And so this specific ESP1 comes in significantly lower than that at around $200. And what I'll say is that you do get that added benefit of the SP1 technology if that's important. It can be something that's convenient and fun to use for practice or for at-home playing, or if you're just a beginner and just getting into guitar, it's a way for you to experience those effects and those affected sounds and kind of dip your toes in that world. I really do like the playability of this neck. I think that on the whole and foundationally, it's a solid guitar. It plays well. It feels nice. The pickups can be changed if you really want to, but they sound fine out of the box too. And so it's a pretty compelling option at its price point, not only for the instrument that is at its core, but also in consideration of getting those added bonuses of the built-in effects and sounds and the app compatibility and things like that. So check it out if you're in the market for something that's really affordable, budget-friendly, that has some fun bells and whistles, but that at its core still plays and feels nice and solid. Thanks for watching the video here. If you've got any questions or comments, drop them below in the comments and we can chat there, and we'll see you on the next one.